Arcade1up's Dragon's Lair finally goes on pre-order. iArcade goes online. Shredder's Revenge on a cabinet. And all this with bourbon. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Another episode of This Week the Show, where we talk about what happened last week, and we look forward to what is going to happen eventually next week. And it's Easter, so happy Easter, everybody! To all those that actually celebrate Easter, happy Easter. For those who don't celebrate Easter, I hope you at least were able to find time this weekend to spend some time with family, friends, hang out, rest, relax, or just do whatever it is you wanted to do. Great to see you. So bourbon for tonight. We're going back to the cheap stuff that, I don't know, it's not that bad. The fistful of bourbon, I'm not just going to throw something out. I got to finish it. It's not that bad. I'm not suggesting you throw it out, but, it's not the greatest stuff in the world. But at $22, it's not bad. Definitely a unique blend. Remember, this is the one that has the 5 different bourbons in it. You got all the stuff in there. So it's not bad. It's not bad. So we're going to go ahead and finish that off, continue to drink that as well. And I got a confession to make to you. So I sent out the tweet for the show. And in that tweet, I said that this was this week 47. And I thought that this week I would actually number the shows numerically so that you could go back if you wanted to and look at everything, not necessarily binge watch it, but actually, yes, you could. You could totally binge watch it. But I thought that you could at least go back and see numerically like where we were. It's a little bit easier to do that than to actually go through and look at the dates. So I thought, okay, so let's do it. So when I started to go through and number all these shows that I've had going for quite some time now, I realized my count was off. This week, This Week show, I might want to think about renaming it, is actually turning 52, episode 52, which means that's one full year of shows. This is episode 52. So, and I am incredibly unprepared for that. I did not put together any kind of a thing to celebrate the 1 year anniversary. I think it's probably a little more than a year. I think I may have missed a week here or there, but basically a year's worth of shows. It's been awesome. It's been really fun. And this channel's grown and this audience has grown. And I really appreciate all of you hanging out with me. So yeah, so it's not episode 47, it's episode 52. Episode 52 is going to be kicking off with a bang with a $10 super chat from a very, very good friend of mine, Drunk 3PO, the drunkest of androids out there. $10 super chat. I love this guy, and this guy loves you, buddy. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Really do appreciate it. And let's see, what am I going to give you? Well, you know what? First super chat of the night. Sorry, Drunk. Love you, buddy, but you got to go to the pit.
Finish him. Melina wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Sad, but it had to happen. That's just the way it goes. So thanks again for the $10 super chat. And yeah, so 52 shows, bit of a milestone. We'll have to do something maybe next week to kind of celebrate that correctly, the right way. And of course, the first one, the guy always first in the chat. He kind of beats everybody to the punch because he comments like, 12 hours before everybody else does. I like to put these things up about 12 hours in advance to give everybody plenty of notice when they're planning their day to maybe stop by and check out the show. But yeah, he says, this is 2 Mile Arcade, of course, saying, what up, battle? Question for you or me, I guess both of us. If Arcade1up made a new TMNT cabinet with Shredder's Revenge and with the original artwork, would you consider buying this cabinet? It's not a spoiler. I'll go ahead and say, yes, I would. But we're going to really get deep into that. I'm going to talk a lot about my thoughts on what may happen and what prompted this whole conversation. So thank you so much for the comment. Always jumping in, hanging out. Endangered dog. Once again, why is the dog still in danger? Get the whiskey. Yes, get the whiskey, get the bourbon. It's time to have a drink and talk some nonsense. Tim Z, what's going on? Happy Easter. I say Z because I do not want to mess up your last name. I just wouldn't feel right. Hey, Endless One Up. How you doing? Look at this guy down under saying hi, stopping by. What time is it even there? Cheers to you, my friend. Absolutely. Frank D, all right. No work tomorrow. Sweet, because it's Patriots Day in Massachusetts, I guess. Maine. What state? Is that a state? Is that a country? I feel unprepared. I'm just going to leave it at that. Gonna make some coffee. BRB. Okay. Gonna make some coffee. Sounds good. Sounds good. I'm glad you got tomorrow off, man. Enjoy it. Absolutely enjoy it. Vaisel says, I should be playing games, but just watch CT Jason's tournament. It was great. Yeah, it was. I stopped in there for a little bit trying to get ready for the show also, and it was it was pretty good. He's a creative guy with a raspy voice that everyone must love. Jay Reed, depends on the game. Depends on the game. Oh, you must be referring to the poll, which I have not addressed yet. Scrolling up over here, we have a poll every week, and I missed it today. So thank you for reminding me. The poll is going to be this. Now, it's kind of I was trying to be as specific as I could be, but also as vague as possible, if that makes any sense to you whatsoever. The question is, do modern games belong on classic arcade cabinets? Kind of tying into what we're talking about when it comes to the last topic of the night, or the second to last topic of the night. But it's more of a general question, right? Do modern games, modern HD, whatever, modern games, do they actually belong on a cabinet that is designed to mimic or recreate the experience of a classic arcade game? Let me know what you think about that. I'm curious to see where everybody falls on this either way. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. Don't worry, I have some slides. I have some slides, so we're going to go through it. Mike Hawkhurst, what's going on? I think it depends on the home/arcade. Sometimes it's nice to have options. Absolutely. Super J-Man, what's going on? Agreed. Like the Cowabunga collection on the Turtles arcade would be cool because it's TMNT. As long as it has the original arcades, then extra games is gravy. Gravy indeed. Let's do this. We shall, Justin. We shall do this. Whatever this is, shall be done. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. I appreciate it. Marco McGann says, even though I got screwed into working tonight, I'm going to listen to you while I clean the store. You are the unsung heroes. You are the grease and the wheels and the gears of industry that make this country move and work. I've worked a lot of third shift jobs. I do currently work a lot of weird hours, and you got to go above and beyond sometimes. And that's what you're doing right now, Marco. You are going above and beyond, and I appreciate it. Absolutely. An American badass. Another American badass. Twisted Gaming TV. What's up, Chris? What's up, 19K Fox? Well, what's up to you, buddy? How you doing? Thanks for stopping by. MC's Game Room. Good evening, everyone. Time for a drink. Yes, time for a drink indeed. A drink amongst friends. Papa Brad's, happy Easter. Happy Easter to you as well, man. Thanks for stopping by. Checking out the channel. Really do appreciate it. Vic Vicious 75. Hey, 19K. Columbus losing to Anaheim. Well, that's the way it goes, right? Let me know what sport you're talking about in the comment section. It's not baseball, is it? Is it baseball? No, Columbus doesn't have a baseball team. Must be hockey you're talking about. Scrolling on down, trying to get caught up. Miss Tammy G is here. How you doing, girl? Good to see you. Happy Easter to you too as well. What? I love massive tweets. My tweets aren't massive. They're average size. Average size. But it's all about how you type it on your phone. There it is. There he is. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you again, man. Snowdub Music and Entertainment. Smash the like button, peeps. Listen, when you have good advice given to you, you got to do it. Also, if you want to comment on the live stream tonight, make sure you're subscribed for at least 5 minutes. That's a way that I can kind of cut out some of the nonsense in my comment section. A lot of spam, a lot of unwanted links posted that I don't want anybody to have to fool with. So just a little way to kind of keep some of that stuff out. So if you want to comment, all you got to do is just be a subscriber for 5 minutes. We got another trooper in here, Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger for $20. Hey Fox, happy Easter! Congrats on the 52nd episode of this week. Love your show, and love you too, brother. Cheers. That's high praise. Thank you, brother. I really do appreciate it. We're gonna have a little something extra from the Retro Ranger later on tonight. He sent it to me. Said, "Hey, listen. You can share it if you want." I said, of course, I'm going to share it. So we're going to see something a little bit later from him, a little bit from the community. But unfortunately, I mean, this is the way it goes, right? So I don't know. It's going to get. You know what? I'm going to play this one. We haven't played this one in a while. Here you go, buddy. Thanks again for the $20 super chat, brother. Really do appreciate it. So let's scroll down here and let's see. And happy Passover. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. I got to clear that up also. Absolutely. Third floor. Jason, how you doing, man? What's going on? Hey, Fox, what's up, brother? Nothing much, just chilling, having a great time talking about some crazy topics. Movie Mark, I got to say, sure, why not? They still make new cabs for Dave & Buster's Arcade. Yeah, I agree. I'm talking about kind of what Arcade1up does, trying to recreate a classic experience, if that makes sense. If that makes sense to you. Because I think there's a difference. I think you're right. They're still making new arcade games, but the classics. We'll talk about it more in just a few seconds. Hey, Cyber Clies 2077. I think I mess up your name every time you comment, and I do apologize. It's just my lack of intelligence. Star Fox Soaring Eye. I appreciate it, man. Salute to you. Hey, Bozo Calvin Jr., what's going on? He's saying hi to Twisted, but I'm saying hi to him. Everybody's saying hi to each other. And that's enough of the highs. That's enough of the lows. We talked about the 52. We talked about this and that. And I guess now it's time to get into the first topic. And the first topic is Dragon's Lair is finally available for pre-order. Wow. Nobody saw this coming. Yeah, we did. We saw this for about 2 years. It's been not rumored. It was actually announced quite some time ago, and now it's finally available for pre-order. So there you go, and it's actually a decent price. I mean, I think a lot of us are probably getting used to, unfortunately, getting used to that $6.99 price point. That's not the case anymore. You're looking at $5.99 for this bad boy. They're billing this. They're kind of spinning it as a $50 discount for early adopters. So I guess that implies that you're going to have $6.50 at retail. So if you want to get in early, listen, if you've been waiting for this cabinet as long as we have, I think it's the least they could do, right? To save you $50. Save $50 and move on. But $649 is kind of a weird price point. We really haven't seen that increment. We've seen a lot of $5.99s and $6.99s. So this does kind of give me hope that maybe that $6.99 space we've been in for a while is now dropped down to $6.49. So maybe we can assume that things like Terminator 2, when they first come out, will be at the $6.49 price point and not that $6.99. So that's great. So let's take a look at this cabinet versus that original rendering. This is going to be kind of fun. It's great to see these things when they first come out. The rendering and how it changes over time. We've seen a lot of things with the slant of monitors and all that. This is fairly similar for the most part. There's not much you really want to do with Dragon's Lair. It's an iconic look. It's an iconic layout. You really don't want to mess with this. But on the right, you see the original, which is the first rendering that they ever introduced to the public whatsoever. So you've got that on the right side, and on the left side is what's actually, we assume, is actually going to be into production. I say assume because when you jump in and zoom in on some of these renders, the new renders, it's kind of pixelated. So I hope that this is extremely accurate to what we're going to get, what we're going to see. I have no reason to doubt that it isn't, because when they finally put these things on pre-order, you usually get what you see. Well, for the most part. So let's talk about, so we've seen that. So let's talk about some of the differences. I want to zoom in on some of these parts and really kind of take a look at that. They were trying to mimic this unique marquee. And I think if you look at the new versus the original was definitely early concept. You see that it's not clear how you were going to be able to sort of support this shape. If you look at this sort of with like a half octagon, the way that juts out from the cabinet, it's not very detailed on that original render. You could tell that's what they wanted to do, so they just sort of shaped that. They didn't really do a lot as far as support. Now, when you look on the new render, which is definitely a render, I don't think this is a photo at all of an actual product. I think you can see definitely there's a lot more support materials in place. We're looking like we're going to have sort of that flat top that we've seen on like the Ridge Racer cabinets. So you're going to have maybe some wood up top instead of just that thin piece of, that thin panel material that they usually put behind marquees. So you're going to have sort of a flat, and then I guess, to sort of recreate that octagonal shape, I'm curious how that marquee is going to fit together. We've seen a lot of different things. I think, this is just me speculating, we're going to see a return to form when it comes to, like those third generation marquees, when, the first lit marquee iterations where you had a lit panel and then a decal on top. What we've seen not previously, but the most recent stuff is similar to what we actually saw in the arcades. Terminator 2 definitely had this, and then Golden Tee also has this, where you have a marquee sliding in a traditional slot, much more accurate to what we see in the big boys. This, I think, is going to be a return to form in that, because I just don't see how they're going to be able to really mimic that and pull that off any other way. I could be wrong, but that's just me speculating. Obviously, let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. What do you think about this? Do you like this style? It's a little more subdued. I think it makes a lot more sense, because, like I said, the one before the original just seems to be a little bit out there. It's not really clear how they were going to support this, really pull this off. So this render definitely gives us a little more idea of what we're going to actually see at retail itself. So you look at that, overall, I think basically it's the same. You see a little bit of a difference when you're talking about your side panels and the way that sort of when the angle break sort of starts. I think the original one on the right probably ended up, that shape probably became the legacy cabinets when you're talking about like Pac-Man or the Namco Legacy. That's definitely what that looks like, that side panel. And then they tried to get a little bit creative with the marquee. It's a little bit more upright. It's a little bit taller. And then if you notice, the biggest difference, well, one of the bigger difference is that you see these holes on the side here. Let me take, you see the holes there on the bottom right? It breaks right where Big Blue did. So you've got a taller cabinet, so you're going to have a taller cabinet, which is good, but also a riser. So this is definitely more in the vein of the Big Blue. You're not talking about XL where you have a complete, elongated side panel. This is definitely 3/4, definitely mimicking that Big Blue aesthetic. But it's kind of weird, because it's like, at this point, why wouldn't you just go ahead and make those panels that we're stacking on top of each other? Why wouldn't we sort of transition away from the Big Blue and just make a solid, or mimic that solid side panel instead of having that riser? It's a weird time, I think, for Arcade1up in their design process. Where are we sort of at? I mean, what the iterations are coming a little more fragmented. I mean, it's just a little bit too, it's hard to kind of keep up with, especially when you're talking about, how do I lay out my arcade? Where are they going? I guess is the biggest question from a design perspective. It sort of seems to be a step backwards, I guess. But then again, they haven't really lined out exactly what they're doing as far as their product, lines, or that, they haven't clearly separated 3/4 scale from XL or whatever they're going to call these new big boys. So, but you do have a stacked design. So that tells me this is going to be a little taller, which I like, because that's probably going to put your control panel in the exact same spot, or the right spot, right where it needs to be. You're thinking about Tron. If you like the height of the deck on Tron, this should be exactly where that is. So you've got that different shape. It's definitely taller. I'm sort of mixed on the riser artwork. It seems kind of generic, but I mean, I don't know. That's just, maybe just could be me. It's almost like, maybe, I don't know. I'm kind of split, like I said, because if we go back to this, you have this original design where they were sort of trying to incorporate the coin doors and, like I said, this the list of games, whereas in the past, in place of the coin door, you had the list of games. So it was sort of a combination of the two. You can see it in that early render. It was sort of a transitional period, I guess. Maybe we'll incorporate the new coin door, obviously, because that's going to be a marquee piece, but we still don't want to lose that games list. Where do we put it? Throw it on the riser. Now you don't have that. You have just, a generic image on the bottom. I don't know. But then you also have the complaint of Killer Instinct being an all black riser, just with a very, very subtle Rare logo on the bottom. But maybe that would have been the better way to go with this cabinet. I'm not exactly sure. But overall, you see that's about where we're at. You see a little bit of a difference when it comes to the monitor slant. But what's the biggest thing? What's probably the number one issue with this cabinet, especially when you're talking about why did it take so long for us to get it? I mean, we've been talking about this thing forever. What was the big holdup? Well, if you remember, the holdup was that second screen. The original concept, the original idea was going to be, let's have a cell phone up there. You just take your cell phone and then we'll have some sort of an app, and that's the way we're going to go with that. The fan reaction, the community was not receptive. I think is a good way to put that. Not receptive at all. It didn't go well. So what they did is they actually went back to the drawing board. And I like the fact that they did this. So the big thing is going to be, for me, what are they doing above that monitor? Well, here you go. more vague generalities. So down in the bottom is the original concept art, and you can sort of see the outline of what looks like. It's almost like, I guess, an iPhone. Looks more like kind of like an iPod, and I guess if you really wanted to, you can still buy an iPod Touch. Believe it or not, I know they're still out there. So maybe that would have been a possibility, because I wouldn't want to really take my phone and put it up there and use that as a second screen, because I'm getting notifications on the thing. Maybe I'm using that to try to take a picture of the cabinet or maybe, I don't know, I'm trying to call somebody. That's some of the things you can do with a phone. Using it as a dedicated second screen seemed a little wonky to me, but maybe you could have bought an iPod or maybe an old iPad or something to throw it up there, and there you go. But I didn't like that like everybody else. I thought that was weird. So up top, you have the new design. Kind of vague, right? So you can see, it looks to me, and these are renders, right? Not final product designs. It looks to me like what they've done there is just taken a digital readout, generic readout, and just sort of put it on the panel. You can see how the LEDs, the yellow LED numbers there are really too close to that speaker on the left. So this is obviously a render. It's not centered, but what is going to be that final screen size? Are they just going to take parts from the pinball machine, that little second screen they have up there, and throw that up there and call that good? That's fine, but then that would change the overall size, I would believe. I know some of that monitor is actually cut off with some of the artwork there to kind of give it that elongated look. So it's possible we could just see that moved over to here. And then you see that the speaker grills, the covers for the speakers, are also from the pinball machines. Now, I think that could be a good thing, because when you're talking about the sound on the XL cabinet, which also has these same speaker grill covers, that sound is incredible. I mean, I got my complaints about the cabinet. First of all, the update messed it up. Now it's fixed. Great. That's definitely a good thing. But the monitor is just, it is what it is, right? But the sound was never an issue when you're talking about Golden TXL at all. I mean, it was absolutely, it's got a ton of bass. It sounds exceptional, really good. If we can see that on Dragon's Lair, which is, listen, Dragon's Lair is, for lack of, I mean, it's obvious. It's a cinematic game, right? It really is. You're playing a cartoon. So sound is everything. Bass is also very key. Bass is missing from most of their cabinets, but not with the XL and not with the pinball machines at all. So whether it's something they're doing on the software side, I don't believe that the speakers are really that much larger. There's something going on there that's recreating that sound. I think you got maybe a Bose wave radio kind of thing going on where they're channeling some of the airwaves. The shape of the cabinet, the positioning of those speakers is always key. I don't care what anybody tells you. That's part of it. And that could be contributing to some of the issues we're having with some of these other cabinets. But I think that is a good sign. I hope that the sound is going to be on par with those two other products. But that second screen, what is that going to really look like? This is not a good render to pull from. When you zoom in, it gets not pixelated but blurred. So it's not the best way to really get an idea of what the hell they're going to do there. And what are they going to do there? I'm not sure, but I think we should be encouraged, because at least we know they're not going to do the stupid cell phone idea. And I'm not going to sit here and say it was stupid, just flat out. They were trying to do some cost savings there. I get that, but it was a bad idea. And they took our feedback and they listened to the community, and they said, you know what, we're not going to release it this way. We're going to release it a different way. We're going to try something else. So we'll see. But at $549, I'm curious what that second screen is going to be. Now, we all remember back in the day, pinball machines were $599. You had a $599 price point for those pinball machines, and they had two screens, 24-inch monitor, a lot of stuff going on. So is it possible we could see the prices coming back down, and $549 is what we can expect for a higher level product, quality sort of, getting up into the area where we used to see $699? Is it possible? That for that $599 price point? I don't know. I hope so. I hope that the sound is there, but that's my number one question about this cabinet. What is going on with that monitor? I really want to know what that second screen is going to be. If it's what we've seen on the pinball machines, I think we're in pretty good shape. I think so. I think we're in pretty good shape, but only time will tell. Now, the question you may be asking yourself, I know it's the question that I asked myself when I saw this, is Fox, you going to get it? No. Here's the thing. iArcade's been going back and forth with I guess they haven't really been going back and forth. It hasn't really been a tit for tat. But in the conversation of Arcade1up, iArcade is always sort of back there in the back of a lot of people's minds as this other option. But the software hasn't been there. The games hasn't really been there. This is an area where the games have been there. We're talking about Dragon's Lair, something that's been out on iArcade for quite some time. This is the point that P-Dubs made over there on the Super Game Room Dude show. You're talking about, I got somebody asking me to check my DMs. Give me just 1 second. But you're talking about, oh, hold on just 1 second. Hold the phone, kids. What is going on here? This is interesting. Okay, so pump your brakes, kids, for just 1 second. I have something to show you. I have a leaked picture. This is interesting. Give me just 1 second. But as I was saying about iArcade, you're talking about an area where they've had Dragon's Lair locked up for quite some time. A lot of people have been able to play this. Super Game Room Dudes, P-Dubs made this point. He's like, listen, I can play this game in a lot of different ways, many different ways, and it just doesn't. That itch has been scratched for him. And I think for a lot of other people, it also has. And, if you went on a limb, if you got that iArcade, you're dealing with a nice 19-inch monitor. I think that has been done. And you've got those cabinets available with that artwork already. So it's not that much. It's not something that is so sought after like Killer Instinct and good emulation that people are just frothing at the mouth like crazy people to try to get. Okay, I am seeing this. Let me take a look at this. Okay, I am going to say, okay, this is interesting. We're going to talk about this. Okay, so what I'm looking at now, and let me see if I can pull this up. What I'm looking at now is a picture of, let me see this. I'm looking at a leaked picture of the actual screen, the second screen for that Dragon's Lair cabinet. So forgive me for trying to get this straight here. Bring this over here. Pop that over there. Nope, don't do that. Don't do that. You go over here. Multiple monitors is not always a good thing. Sometimes it can actually be a curse. Okay, let me share my screen here and let's talk about this real quick. This is interesting. All right, so you saw it here first. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe somebody else has already seen this. But check this out. Let's look at this one. Share. And it's flickering like crazy. Not sure why it's doing that. Okay, let me kill that for a second. Let me remove that. Let me just take that off. Stop that for a second. Let me see if I can just download this. Okay. How's your day today? Great. Got a leaked photo trying to show everybody on YouTube, and I can't quite get it to work, but it's okay. It's fine. Everybody's good. We're good here. Fine. How are you? Let me go this route. Hold on. Stay with me. This is interesting because what I'm looking at, it's wow, this is different. This is not exactly what I was anticipating at all. Where did it go? So if you can imagine, sort of, it looks like the that yellow LED that we were talking about. It looks like that is actually printed. Huh? Those aren't LEDs. That's actual text. Where did it go? And now I've lost it. Probably because it was a spy photo and no one can see it. Okay. All right, let's try this one more time because this is interesting. This doesn't appear to be something we've seen before. Leaked photo. Let me see if I can save this again. Okay, it is there. No. Okay, kill that. Kill that. Messing with the flow, I know. Messing with the flow. Well, oh, here it is. Here it is. Sorry about that, man. I had to get it all together. Let me take this and put this over here. All right, we're back on track. So yeah, check this out. Now this is, bear in mind, this is kind of blurry. Where are we at? Come back. There we go. This is kind of blurry, but you can sort of see there's a lot of things to make out about this. Let me go ahead. This is okay. So if you're a fan of Knight Rider, you're going to love this. Okay, here's what we're looking at here. Check this out. Check this out. This is weird. Okay, so you're looking at, move this around. Okay, so here's our speakers left and right. And it looks like unless that text is illuminated just to the left, it looks like it's just printed on. Now, I guess it could be, well, no, okay, so we got the screen is on. The screen is on right now. The lower screen and then your actual score screen up here. It's actually illuminated. So why? Oh, why would that be dark? So the text on the left looks dark. And if you're playing in the dark, like most people do, it's going to be tough to make that out. But your scores are there on the right. So this is, wow, this is interesting. So it's like, did they take that screen and did they, now is it the same sort of, I believe that's an 8-inch rectangular screen with sort of a standard 16:9 format. I could be wrong. Let me know, Justin, if I'm wrong about that. And what they did is they just covered up a portion of the screen. You know, it's only displaying, you know, a percentage of the screen. And so what they did is they just covered that up. So you got that, but yeah, you see, you definitely, I'm getting the I'm getting the Knight Rider vibe for sure. This is interesting. It does seem like it is, the screen itself is centered between the two speakers. That's good. But the text on the left there, that's going to be difficult to read. This is a goofy foot. This is a watercolor picture. Yes, it is. Okay, so that's interesting. That is interesting. So let me know what you think about that. Man, that's that's odd. I gotta look into that a little bit more and see what's going on there. So, but anyway, I guess the overall point is when you're talking about Dragon's Lair, there's been many ways to play this. And if you were so inclined to buy a cabinet that really focused and showcased Dragon's Lair, you were able to do that through iArcade. So, as you know, or maybe you don't know, a couple weeks ago or last week, I said, hey, guess what? I'm buying that new iArcade, the Gold Edition. Want to check this thing out? They made a lot of design changes. I'm not going to rehash that whole video. Go back and definitely check that out if you want to see the reasons why I finally decided to check it out, because, you know, I was kind of not interested for a long time. But yeah, so I have an iArcade pre-ordered on the way, so I see no reason to go ahead and buy this. And that is the problem that you're going to have when it comes to, you know, selling this cabinet. I think a lot of people out there are already on this, right? And they've already got this. They're scratching that itch. They're good. So I think it's definitely going to hurt. This is actually one occasion where iArcade is going to hurt sales, I believe, of the iArcade or of the Dragon's Lair cabinet. But let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. Do you have an iArcade, and are you still going to maybe get this cabinet as well? Listen, I know that there's super fans of every game out there. It's a possibility. Are you going to do something like that? Are you that crazy? Let me know. Let me know. When you watch this on replay, definitely let me know that. I want to highlight that comment because I think you need help. No, you're just a fan. You're just a fan like me and everybody else. Introduce an Alien versus Predator cabinet, and I might buy two. But, you know, I've met the problems. All right, moving on to the next topic while we're talking about iArcade. Guess who went online? iArcade. iArcade went online. So they introduced, it's as part of their big rollout, their big announcement for the Gold Edition, the new shape, the new cabinet, the new internal, you know, moving around parts and all that good stuff got me to buy the cabinet you see on the left. They also introduced online play, and this week they actually brought it out, but it wasn't platform wide. You didn't see a bunch of games that actually had this. So what it allows you to do is co-op play. Obviously, I'm assuming for beat 'em ups, co-op play, head-to-head, also fighting games. And this is peer-to-peer from what I understand. And these are the 5 games that they rolled out that are going to have the ability to play online, go online. Well, that's great. But I think you missed an opportunity. And it's right there on your left-hand side, the Double Dragon. I think you should have started with Double Dragon. Now, I'm sitting back as a fan and assuming that they have all the options available to them in the world. If you're gonna have, listen, if there's a short list that you're only going to be able to roll this thing out on, priority one should have been Double Dragon. It's one of your cabinets. It's one of your cabinets that you have, and you can't really do that with Dragon's Lair. Not a lot of head-to-head competition when you're talking about Dragon's Lair. I think Double Dragon still, if you want to kind of rub a little salt in the eye of Arcade1up, who still has not come out with their Double Dragon cabinet. Supposedly it's rumored this year, so maybe we'll see it. Not exactly sure. But if you want to rub a little salt in that wound, wouldn't it be great to say, hey, by the way, we also are going to have online compatibility with the Double Dragon series of games. Even the third one. I've not been the biggest proponent of online functionality. In the beginning of sort of my getting into this 3/4 scale world, this madness, I didn't think that online was that big of a deal. Wasn't that into it until I had it. Now, then all of a sudden things begin to change. And I think more so leaderboards than anything else. Because, go over to Mike of All Trades channel, and he'll tell you, Fox ain't all that great at fighting games. Fighting games maybe isn't where it's at. I think I see Moat in the chat. He can vouch for me. He can back me up on that. Fox sucks. But when you're talking about leaderboards, now that adds a ton of replay value. Case in point, when you're talking about the bowling game on the new Golden Tee XL cabinet, I was playing it. I was having fun. But then, it really got intense when P-Dub said, hey, he beat my high score. I'm like, what? What did you do? And he shows me, takes a picture. Hey, yeah, Fox, I'm 1 pin above you or whatever. He's like 10 points or something above me. I'm like, no. This cannot stand. Immediately, I run to the arcade and I fire the thing up and I play. And I beat him by like 10 or 20 points. And then he's like, oh, hey, keep trying, Fox. And so you get that back and forth. He lives in Arizona. I'm over here near Cincinnati. We're nowhere near each other. We would have never, met if it wasn't for this community that we built here. And that really added something to the game. It really added, like, I'm trying to one up some guy that I know across the country, across the world, or girl, guy or girl. Not gonna do that, but not gonna be discriminatory. A girl could be better at me than the bowling game on the XL cabinet, but it's, to be fair, that's not really hard to do. I'm not that great at it either, but it definitely added something. So I'm not gonna poo-poo the achievement that online is. I'm not gonna say that's not really a big feature, because I think that it is. If nothing else, just for leaderboards. It's just, that's just the way it is. I think it really does add something, and it allows me and you to play each other, even though we've never met. And I don't know where you live. We find each other. Fanatics of this hobby can connect that way through online play. So I think it matters. And I think leaderboards, if nothing else, is a great place to start. But you're talking about, come on, guys. What were you doing? Double Dragon is where you should have started. Double Dragon would have been awesome. Double Dragon would have been the home run hit when you're talking about online play, introducing online. And hey, we only got 5 games, but actually 3 of those 5 is Double Dragon. And to be honest, to be fair, nobody cares about the third game anyway. So you could have really just got away with 2, but that's just my 2 cents. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. And now moving on to the next topic. Oh boy. So you're talking about, starting a brush fire, with your words, with your comments, because words matter, right? Talk about, depending on where they come from and where those words are spoken or typed, you can really start a firestorm. And another way you can start a firestorm is to send a $4.99 super chat to this channel, because I really do appreciate it, from Console Fanboy. Thank you so much. I think you left that some time ago. I apologize, but I'm finally getting back to it. I think in 2023, as we see more XLs coming out, the 3/4 cabs will drop considerably in price. I think they'll stop making 3/4 scale cabs altogether. I wish I could disagree, but I don't think I do. I think you're onto something there, Console Fanboy. You might be right, and that means that we might be rebuying more cabinets again. But I mean, listen, it is what it is. And because you came here and dropped me $5, here you go.
Finish him. Score. Wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Thanks again for the super chat, man. I really do appreciate it. Trying to scroll down because guess what happens? Good things sometimes come in twos. And we got a $5 super chat from Sosa. Fam, bam, bam. What the hell is going on, buddy? Thanks for stopping by. Easter shot on Lord. Look at that. What a guy. What a guy. You are the man. Listen, I'm not the man. You are. But I'll take a drink. A drink to you, sir. Thank you so much for that $5 super chat. I really do appreciate it. But you know what really, who really appreciates this? Wolverine.
Game's over. Time to call it quits.
It's a brutal way to send you out, but listen, do what you got to do. This is the big one. Okay, you're talking about a firestorm, like I said, a firestorm, a brush fire of conversation that can start with a single spark. And another thing that can also start with a single spark is super chats, because I got another one, another $5 super chat. Thank you so much from Vaisel. Haven't given you a super chat before. Just want the support. I think you do a good job. Happy Easter. Happy Easter to you. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Man, it's awesome. It's very humbling when a super chat comes my way. And you know, you also might want to maybe get humble and get a sweater, get a coat, because it's going to get a little chilly.
Finish him. Sub-Zero wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Thanks again for a super chat. Man, I appreciate it. We got another $4.99 super chat from Console Fanboy. That's their plan, for us to rebuy everything all over again, because why not? More money for them. By the way, happy Easter. I mean, no company ever does that. Just, like re-releases items every year so that we can just rebuy them over and over again. Apple. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, buddy. $4.99. I do appreciate it, and I think your logic is not flawed, brother. It's not. It's not at all. And yeah, definitely a happy Easter to you too. And what else can I give you? You know what? Say hi to one of the ladies with your smooth singing voice. And another $5 super chat from Sosa Fam. Bam, bam. One more shot. Yeah, baby, yeah. All hail. Lord Sosa rocks. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, guys. Killing me. Blessing me with all this love. And you know what? Super Saiyan 3 Goku's got a little something to say to you.
Can't you do any better?
This is the overlord!
Moving on to the brush fire of conversation that was started by a one John D. wielding his power over on Facebook. And he posed a simple question on the official Arcade1up global fan page. And it's fairly rare that he posts on there. And when he does, people tend to sort of, their ears kind of perk up. What's he talking about? What's going on with this crazy guy? This is what he said. Listen, just an informal feedback gathering post. Sly way to put that there, buddy. But I see what you did there. Would you want Shredder's Revenge on an upcoming re-release of a Turtles cab? I know it isn't an arcade title, but just want to know your opinion before I meet with Viacom at this year's licensing expo. Smiley face, not emoji, but the thing you do with the punctuation. Okay, so that's a hell of a question to pose to people, because we're going to talk about it. It's what we do, but we're going to talk about that right after this $5 super chat from Console Fanboy hitting me up again. I can't beat Sosa in Mortal Kombat, so I'll beat him in super chats. Here you go. LOL. I appreciate I appreciate it very much. And listen, things could be worse. They could definitely be worse. You know what? I gave you that one, but let me give you this one right here. It was not Scorpion, but it was Wolverine in the yellow and brown. So yeah, so the cut. we have a $20 super chat from Sosa fan. Bam, bam, $20. Lord Sosa always wins. And in this conversation and in this competition, yeah, he might be might be taking home the gold for sure. $20. Thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate it. And here you go, buddy. Thanks again, man. But 20, that freaking $20. All right, here we go. Here we go. Listen, a man of his word, right? Fine, you win. Can someone loan me $50? $50. If they loan you $50, take it and buy yourself something nice, man. I do appreciate it. Always support the channel. And listen, $1.99. I got to give you something else. Oh, what could it possibly be? Here you go. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate it. I love being the subject of your competition. I love it. There's no problem here. But John D, he started a firestorm, guys. Listen, he really did. When you say something like this and you've got the community sort of, there's a part of the community, I think, that wants to see something like this happen. And if you were on that post, if you're involved in that thing, the fan page at all, you saw my response. And I said, listen, I'm not a fan whatsoever of console games, console ports being on an arcade cabinet, but there is an exception to every rule, and this is that exception. Also, an exception is the competition of super chats for $2. Another one from Sosa fan, bam. CFB console fanboy, you're a good sport. Love you, bro. Absolutely. You didn't have to super chat me to tell him that, but I appreciate the $2, man. I do appreciate it. And I got to give you something else. What is left? I just don't know. Here you go. Finish. So that was my response. And once again, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I do appreciate it. So that was my response, was that, hey, this is the exception to the rule. But we have to sort of think about this. And I wanted tonight, what I want to do, let's step back and I want to take a broad look at what we're really talking about, because I think this is important. When you talk about the arcade experience and console ports, we have to sort of go back in time and remember what that was actually like, because back then the arcade was where it was at. In the arcade, they did things graphically you just couldn't recreate at home until Neo Geo actually brought their arcade system home. Literally brought the arcade system that would play their console, their arcade cartridges. Until they really brought that AES home, you really couldn't mimic that, really. So what did they do? Unfortunately, it diluted the console experience. And this is what we got. When you're talking about arcade games and the quality and what they were, those ROMs, you had their 8-bit, 16-bit counterparts. Specifically when you're talking about, Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, Turtles the arcade game. I mean, they wanted to do what they could to get that into as many homes as possible to maybe inspire you to go out and find an arcade and play these games. Now, I say find an arcade because arcades, while extremely plentiful in the 80s and 90s, they weren't really everywhere. I grew up in the rural South, and we didn't have an arcade that was that close to me. That's why I didn't really get into arcades or playing arcades until the early 90s, because that's when I got a driver's license and I could drive myself to the nearest arcade. But I knew of them. But this was what we had to sort of settle with. So this is what you're talking about. Console ports were diluting the arcade experience so that it would run on your home hardware, right? But then you have the flip side. If the middle of your seesaw is the arcade machine, and it's sort of what I'm trying to mimic here. When you talk about a tipping point, with the arcade being the pinnacle, okay, the standard that everyone chased, and couldn't achieve. So they had to sort of settle 18-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit, all this. Couldn't quite get there because you had purpose-built hardware, and you just couldn't do it reasonably. You couldn't get that at home. The 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 the, the middle of this, the fulcrum, would be the arcade itself. And before we get into the other side of that fulcrum, what is on the other side? What is the tipping point? What's the other way? We're going to look at this $5 super chat from Papa Brad's Gaming. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Arcade1up cannot tie up every game title made. So iArcade will eventually win. It is just a matter of time. They will work outside the box. Watch them. And we will. We absolutely will. I've talked about this before. If multiple companies are succeeding, who wins? We do. The consumer always wins when there's competition. If you've got a monopoly on anything, it stifles creativity, it stifles development. It just doesn't move the hobby, in our case, forward. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, man. I really do appreciate it. And what else can I give you that I haven't spent on someone else? You know what? Here you go. Right here. Okay, so we talked about that. We talked about the other side, right? The low side. What console ports and console versions of arcade games actually do? They have to dilute that experience to get it home, to run on, inferior hardware. But that pinnacle, that fulcrum is definitely going to be your arcade cabinet, your arcade experience, right? What's on the other side of that? If you fast forward beyond the 90s, early 2000s into the late 2000s, you're going to see a surprising trend. The new HD versions, what they actually did is they surpassed the arcade cabinet. They surpassed the arcade game, and they pushed it forward. It's an interesting thing that happens in the early, it was really like, I think 2009, 2010, 2011, somewhere in that time frame where you had these amazing remakes, HD versions of older games, specifically some of these arcade games. They realized, hey, not everybody was able to play the arcade version. Let's take that and let's jack that thing up, shoot it full of steroids, and see what we can come up with. So while we're looking at Shredder's Revenge, which is amazing, it wasn't the first one to do it. Ubisoft got together, and if you were around in 2009, 2010, you could have downloaded Turtles in Time reshelled for your PlayStation, Xbox. Everybody else had it. And it was amazing. Turtles in Time reshelled is a game that I have on my PlayStation 3. It is awesome. It took that arcade game and it completely rebuilt it from the ground up. It was phenomenal. You can see up top there, the graphics were very, very different. Shredder's Revenge is very much in the vein of those old graphics, that old graphical style. So when you're looking at Turtles in Time reshelled, you're looking at Streets of Rage 4, right? Where they took that and they pushed the graphics. They took all that, they brought it forward. Whereas Shredder's Revenge is sort of in that same vein of the old arcade or the old, it's definitely not 16-bit. It's definitely beyond that, but it's very, the sprites are a little bit smaller, but it's sort of cartoonish, but it mimics that style completely. These both feel like sequels. I take that back. I think Shredder's Revenge probably looks more like a sequel, whereas Turtles in Time really looks like a new iteration of the game itself. Definitely a different take on it, an upscaled version of it. And listen, both games, I mean, I haven't played Shredder's Revenge yet. It looks great. I appreciate that art style. But Turtles in Time, reshelled for me, it holds a special place in my heart because that was a really, really awesome game in the arcade. And that was the first time that it was redone for real, like legit, yo. That's my street slang. And done in a way that I was like, wow, this looks really, really good. So that's what I think. If you're looking at that seesaw, right, that gaming seesaw technology in your head, the fulcrum was arcades. That was really it. That was the pinnacle. That was it. And then now we have the teeter-totter where we had that dilution of the experience before you know, the 2000s basically. And then you took that leap into PlayStation 3 sort of eras, and people took that, and now you have sort of these new versions, these HD versions, pushing it forward. You know, and then ports on cabs. Unfortunately, the older ones they added very little, right? They would take the game that you knew and you loved. They would take it and they would say, okay, great, this is awesome. Everybody loves it. They're pumping quarters in this machine, but we can't get that to run on a Super NES. We can't do that. We can't get that to run this on your Sega Genesis. You know, Sega Saturn, still a little ways off. Still can't quite get there. PlayStation looks good, almost, right? So you're talking about, you know, your 16, your precursors to the 64-bit era, right? So they added very little, and in my opinion, those really don't have a place on your arcade systems, on your arcade cabinets, on your arcade recreations. I'm sorry, but I'm an Arcade1up fan, but Killer Instinct, when you're talking about 8-bit and 16-bit versions of Battletoads, I don't even think that's really worth including. I mean, I know it's kind of a bonus thing, but I would rather have like a behind the scenes video of how they made it, or maybe something, I don't know, there's something else, maybe some artwork. You know, when you used to get your Capcom fighting games, some of the things you could unlock was the artwork, the original artwork from the game, the concept art. Maybe something like that. If you're talking about supplementary material, bonus material, maybe Arcade1up should think about that, because 8-bit and 16-bit versions of this arcade game that I'm playing right now, that you've recreated for me, why the hell would I do that? I just don't get that. If you're going to throw a copy of Super Mario Brothers 3 on there, okay, maybe. That's a console icon. But a diluted, watered-down version of a cheap port has no place on my arcade machine. But you know what has a place in my chat? Another $5 super chat from Sosa Fam Bam. $5 again. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm thanking you for it. I can't wait for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Brother, listen, I hope that is the case. I have my doubts. That might not happen. But, I'm with you. I so hope that leak is actually correct. I would trade all 20. I would trade. Listen, I would trade all 28 of my cabs for 28 Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabs. People can dream, yes, and I will never squash those dreams here. Well, I won't attempt to. Reality, on the other hand, may squash those dreams for us, but I'm not going to do it here. Console Fanboy, I'll buy you one too. Look at that. Listen, if he's got 28, he should give you one in box, is what I should say. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, man. Really do appreciate it. Jumping on over here, seeing what I can give you. Here you go.
Let's go.
KO! Wolverine wins!
Rookie.
I love that. Rookie. And then again, Ezekiel Chicago. I mean, listen, brother, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Another $10 from the Chicago Retro Ranger himself. A game like SR and SR4 is in my opinion, need an arcade cab. Hence the design I did, and I plan. I'm sorry, plan to. It's the super chat. They put it together. The design I did, which we're getting to. I'm saving your flavor for later. We're not just going to blow. No, we're not just going to throw it out there. Your design is coming up. Hence the design I did, and I plan to build both of these titles without Arcade1up, whether Arcade1up releases it or not. Listen, that's what you got to do, and I'm gonna touch on that point a little bit later, because you're right. When you have something you love, you got to do it. And SR is talking about Shredder's Revenge and Streets of Rage 4, another great game, another great re-release, but it's a console game. So I've actually been on the fence myself about that, Retro Ranger. I don't know what to do there. That was really a console game. And so to me, in my mind, it realizes its full potential on a console. But I see your point. It has always been an homage, I think, the Streets of Rage games to those beat 'em ups from back in the day. Definitely has. But man, it's a $10 super chat, brother. I really do appreciate it. Not necessary at all, but I'll take it. Man, thank you so much. And you know what? Oh, I got one for you. Here you go. I'm contractually obligated to continue to read super chats because, listen, your money is valuable. You worked hard for it, so here you go. Another $2 super chat from Sosa Fan Bam. Told my wife when Marvel vs. Capcom 2 drops, I'm buying 4 of them, not 2, 4. He's buying 4. He's buying 4. Listen, I just maybe 2. Listen, this is what I would do. And you know I'm an AVP fanboy, right? Alien versus Predator Capcom, love it. Maybe just buy 2. Buy 2 initially. Open it up, assemble it. The other one you keep in plastic, keep it in a box. You keep it just push, kind of away in the back. But 4, you're a madman. But I gotta say, I like where your head's at. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat, and here you go.
Finish him. Sub-Zero wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Another fatality, another chat member bites the dust, and another $5 super chat from Console Fanboy, man. I'm a multi-cade guy. Sosa, I have a Bobby Voo cab. Yes, he does. It's sick. One cab to rule them all. That's right. Lord of the Rings reference noted. I'll take a Liu Kang statue, though. Just kidding. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, man. And where are we at? You know what? If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you again because you deserve it.
Finish him. Scrap wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Okay. I'm trying to say this in my movie voice. $2 super chat from Sosa Fan Bam, Moat, UAG, CFB, and Lord Sosa. Rock hard. I'm assuming you mean you rock and not something. I don't know. A $2 super chat from Console Fanboy says Laundromat Wars forever, to die for, ever. If he did it, it's like it's one long thing.
Finish him. Scrap wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
So where the hell was I at? So basically what you've got here is you've got this HD sort of experience. The fulcrum was the arcade. The HD experience sort of pushing that forward, and in my opinion, kind of leaving this behind. Right? So I think if you're talking about HD 16:9 versions are included, it's a weird time, right? If the fulcrum back in the day was the arcade being the pinnacle, and you had the console ports and you had the HD remix sort of pushing it forward. Now we're talking about taking a 16:9 HD remix of a game, of an original arcade game, and putting it on an arcade. And when you think that through, I'm not sure that works. Because here's the problem. Here, this is going to blow your mind. Now we flipped the script where before the console ports were watered down versions of the arcade experience. I think now what we're going to have is that with a brand new HD 16:9 ratio, version of an arcade, you're going to have the arcade machine you're putting it in is actually going to hurt the experience. And that is sort of a testament to how far we've come, how far we've gone. But at the same time, I don't know if it's the best fit. What is the best fit? And I think I stand by my same point that I made in that Facebook post, that if you're going to make an exception, I think it's a good exception. I think you've got to do some things maybe I think you need to try to, maybe get a 4.3 aspect ratio version of that to fit the screen. If not, you're going to have black bars top and bottom, and that's fine. But I think it's a good bonus game. But I think I've got another idea. Let me just float something out there to you. But let me do that after another $2 super chat from Sosa Fan Bam. What's going on? Let's just have a super chat episode where everybody super chats. I fail to see the downside. I don't know that there is one. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat, buddy. And you know what? I think I gave you, I introduced you to one of the other ladies. Here's the other one. Thank you so much for the super chat. I got a $5 super chat from Mike of All Trades, Moat himself. By the way, going to be on Moat's channel this Tuesday night. We're going to talk about, I would imagine, other craziness, other wild nonsense, and maybe even push a few buttons, cross a few lines. It's not outside, the realm of possibility. So we're going to do that. And he says, I want to play. Speaking of play KI 2013. Here's to the Adult Beverage Fund. And listen, I appreciate it. And it needs it because it's kind of depleted. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. I really do appreciate the $5. And what can I give to my brother? I hope you're a Wolverine fan. And I've got another super chat from Console Fanboy. No more money left. Can I borrow like $36 for the overdraft fee? I mean, that would be nice if we could just maybe help him out. I mean, listen, just send your PayPal or Venmo information, and we'll take care of you, buddy. And Jason over at Overthink Gaming, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate it. He just wanted to interrupt the show to say that Street Fighter, the movie, the game, is awesome. I mean, I think the movie was awesome, but I don't know about... Dramatic finish indeed. And a $2 super chat from Harold Miller. Thank you so much. $2. Why? Why $2? Well, just because. So before we continue on, I really need to make this point, and then we're going to get to the super chats that y'all are blessing me with that I do not deserve. Here's my idea. We're talking about, hey, what about a re-release? And let's go back to his comment, right? Let's talk about a re-release of Turtles, and then maybe we throw Shredder's Revenge on it. And that sounds cool. But if you're sitting down, reach for your, buckle up. I got something for you. That sounds cool. Let's add a modern game onto there. 16:9. You got to worry about the the aspect ratios 4.3 and see if we can maybe do something, change it up a little bit here, a little bit there. What about this? What about this right here? So we've got another competitor, right? Another challenger has entered the ring when you're talking about the Cowabunga collection. We're talking about 13 games. All the old games back in the day that came on your NES, your Super NES, your Game Boy, your Sega Genesis, and also the arcade games themselves. So we're going to bundle something with arcade games. How about we do something that's already coming out? How about we work together with the guys that are coming up with the Cowabunga collection, and we put ourselves together a little TMNT legacy cabinet. 13 games. All the classics, every iteration, all, and most importantly, you're talking about that 4.3 aspect ratio. Keep all that the same. And then maybe the super cabinets coming out, maybe those those HD remixes coming out in the future, we save those for something else. Maybe we save those for the proper aspect ratio monitor. But I'm just saying right here, what about that? It would be great to see Shredder's Revenge jump on there, man. I think that'd be awesome. If you're talking about a bonus game, it'd be great. It's not ideal. You got to work on that a little bit. But what about, listen, I mean, come on. If you're talking about the Cowabunga, I mean, 13 games. We're going to take some ports. We're going to take some iterations. We're going to take some. What do you think about that? Let me know what you think about that. 13 games, a TMNT legacy cabinet, 13 games, all Ninja Turtles, every iteration. But in that situation, you still have the arcade being the pinnacle, being the fulcrum, being the standard to which all these other games are trying to emulate. If we cross that line and step into the HD remake, HD super versions, I think what we do is we maybe step a little too far. So that's my 2 cents. But you know what? You know what that was? Oh, she's a mighty. Let me scroll back here and say, while that was my 2 cents, Console Fanboys $2 for $1.99 says, by the way, 19K Fox, I started this. You're welcome. Yes, you did. You are to be thanked. It's a great problem to have, I got to say. And by the way, here you go.
Finish him. Scorpion wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Sosa Fam Bam Bam paid $2 to say, listen, Street Fighter, the movie, the game, OTG, it rocks. So I see we're all in agreement. I think I'm on the fence. What's going on? We got UAG in the house. What's going on for the $1.99 super chat? Oh, hell no. Street Fighter, the movie? It's trash. Well, hold on now. The movie? The movie was, I'm not going to say it's Mortal Kombat movie level, but it's not bad. Now, Street Fighter, the movie, the game, me and you might be walking in lockstep there, Sunshine, because I don't know.
Finish him. Sub-Zero wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
And I got CT Jason jumping in for $20. Man, thank you so much. Just catching up with the show. Good stuff, 19K Fox. It has been one for the record books for sure. Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for the $2 or $20 super chat. $20. And you know what? I've only sent one other person to the pit, but unfortunately, you got to join them, brother.
Finish him. Melina wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Console Fanboy spent $1.99 to say that this feels like a private chat. And he may be right. And of course, Harold Miller has to jump in for $2 to say that, hey, Zohar, I will give you, or I got your $36, but unfortunately, he just spent $2 of it. So now it's going to be, it's not looking good for you. Sorry. Okay. Jason over at Overthink Gaming. I think you and I maybe have a little commonality here. The game, all right, it's, we're in Pit Fighter territory, and I know I said I like Pit Fighter, but come on, it is what it is, right? But the movie, come on, man. I mean, you got Jean-Claude, right? I mean, you have one. Listen, when you're talking about the movie, okay, when you're talking about Street Fighter 2, the movie, you have one of the greatest lines in cinematic history when you're talking about that. Remember when M. Bison said at Chun-Li, he's like, yeah, the day I came into your village and killed your father was the day that changed your life. But for me, it was Tuesday. $2 from Sosa Fan Bam saying UAG being a hater again. Come on, UAG, get on this bandwagon of Street Fighter 2 the movie love, or Street Fighter 2 the movie love. My military brother Shellback TJC, an original turtle lover, Cowabunga. Well, Cowabunga indeed, man. Here you go.
Finish him. Sub-Zero wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
So listen, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for putting up with my foolishness. But it was good. It was fun. Thanks, and catch the replay for all the other shenanigans. So you got that. I got to say, I think that if you're talking about what would I rather see on a re-release of a Turtles cabinet, while Shredder's Revenge would be dope. I mean, it would be good. Even if it came in cropped, right? Top and bottom, it would still be good. I think if you're talking about something I would rather see, talk to the boys over there, putting together that Cowabunga collection and say, hey, how about we take all that and we build a cabinet out of that? And I've got the original 4-player. I put the lip marquee. You know, I love that bad boy. That was a great present for me. But I mean, that's, you know, I see no reason to upgrade. But if you're talking about that, the Cowabunga collection, well, Shredder's Revenge, while that would be awesome, the Cowabunga collection would be radical. Which, if you went around in the '90s, radical is actually better than that. But I got something else to show you. I've been teasing this all night. Chicago, the Retro Ranger buddy, sent me a little something. Sent me a mock-up of what he thinks in his mind that that a Shredder's Revenge cabinet, a re-release cabinet, would look like. Something that he says he's going to build. And before he built it, he said, "Hey, listen, Fox, let me share that with you." And I was honored. So here you go. Check this out. Check out this concept art of basically taking what is their current Turtles in Time cabinet and then reskin that bad boy in this layout. Now this looks pretty good. I got to tell you, it looks way better than that Turtles in Time original artwork that's on there. You know, it's not happening. But this looks good. What's getting me, I think, is I like the side art. I like the different colors coming down. I like the control panel. The way that's divided up is dope. I like that. The marquee looks good. I like it. And I think that, you know, that's kind of where we are as far as this hobby, right? And we'll talk about that a little bit more after I just this another $5 super chat from Sosa Fam Bam. OTG is a master instructor. Okay, you can sign up for his training classes. He's a sensei. $89.99 a month, guaranteed to be a master in 3 months. A master of what? Well, that's what you find out after you sign up. You gotta sign the thing, and then there's this other thing. I'm not really sure, but it involves some kind of waiver. But anyway, that's enough of that. For more information, head on over to UAG's channel and check out his $89.99 dollar plan. It's really great. Console Fanboy for $4.99. Welcome to the Super Chat Show, brought to you by in part by I'm never getting that Liu Kang statue because I'm a moron. Well, listen, we're all kind of a little moronic sometimes. You know, it's just kind of the way it is. And for you, we'll end it with this.
Finish him. Scrub wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
So that was so yeah. Chucky Shea just kind of sums it up, right? Laughing emoji. That was amazing. That was awesome. You've definitely made my Easter special. I hope I at least contributed in some way to yours being decent. And yeah, like I said, I mean, the Shredder's Revenge would be cool. I like that, but we got to think about what we're doing. Where are we going? You know, we're tipping the scale. We're now having the arcade being the anchor for that HD remix. We got the arcade dragging down the experience that you're going to get with that HD version of that game. It's kind of a meta. It's kind of a, you know, it's kind of an Inception, right? But I think that maybe, like I said, that's a good choice. But why don't we pursue that Cowabunga collection? I think, to me, that would be much better, much more interesting. But anyway, that's just That's just what I think about it. That's where I'm coming from. Would you look at that?
What the hell?
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up by checking out that poll. I asked you this question in the beginning of the stream, 163 votes. Real quick, let your voice be heard, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's not super definitive, to be honest with you. 55%, let's go to end this poll. The question again was, do modern games belong on classic arcade cabinets? Okay. 55% say yes, while 45% say no. Interesting there. It's not super definitive. Like I said, the the margin of error is pretty close there, but I don't know. I think the majority of people say, yeah, why not? Why not? Do it. And I think for the most part, I don't mind it. But like I said, when you're talking about the classics, why don't you incorporate some of those different classics, especially when you can draw on some of the collections that are already out there in the ether being put together as we speak. Couldn't get to my fourth topic, which is basically I would just want to remind you that my Gran Turismo 7 racing cabinet is complete. That video is up on the channel, just posted a few days ago. I think Wednesday is when it posted. I'm getting pretty good response to that. I want to know what you think about it, so swing it over and check that out. And I want you to kind of think about it this way. When you're talking about that arcade machine that I built, when you're talking about my AVP project, when you're talking about my 6-player X-Men cabinet that I built, at some point, and I think it's a great idea to go ahead and let them know, and by them being Arcade1up, iArcade, whoever, let them know what we want. Tell them, let your voice be heard. At some point, you got to tell yourself, listen, I'm not going to bitch about it. I'm just going to build it. And that's what sometimes you got to take matters in your own hands. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by the channel. And everybody, I hope you enjoyed your weekend. Get ready for work next week. And I'll see you back here next week, hopefully for some more news, some more stuff. And I will see all of you next time.